Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, we got a pretty interesting one for you guys that I definitely want you guys to stick around for. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Anyway, let me get into this situation here. And I think this is a pretty interesting episode here because we're kind of looking ahead, right? And we're trying to understand, listen, where is this sports world going in the future? As you all know, in the sports world, if we're talking about, American, media, right? Sports media, there are a number of big voices out there. You're thinking of Colin Cowherd, you're thinking of Skip Bayless, you think of Stephen A. Smith, you think of Shannon Sharpe, you think of Chris Broussard, Nick Wright, Marcellus Wiley, Jalen Rose, right? Max Kellerman. There's so many marquee names out there. But a lot of these guys have kind of been in the spotlight for quite some time, some longer than others. If you think about Skip Bayless, he's been in the spotlight for, I think, well over now 2 decades or so. Stephen A. Smith has been out there for quite some time. There have been some that sort of came and went and others like that. And then you have those that are up and coming, right? You have, if you think of Shannon Sharpe just really started doing TV, really. I think they started Undisputed. I think that was in 2016 where he started alongside Skip Bayless. And before that, prior to that, I don't think he would just do like guest appearances here on ESPN and other places. And I think NFL Live and different places like this. But really, that's when he started in 2016. If you think about us here in Dreamerspro, a lot of us here on YouTube, these independent sports media companies, a lot of these guys out there have been doing it for a little bit longer than me. Some of them, and some of them have been doing shorter period of time. You think about us, we've only been doing it for, I think about, we've been covering basketball for 2 years. Next year, we're going to be going into our 3rd year covering, the NBA. So, this sport is kind of revolving, and I want to look into the future. Right. And for all the drama that surrounds Stephen A. Smith, he still remains the biggest fish out there. Right. He's at the top of this business. If we're talking about sports analysts on TV, especially in the United States, I'm really focusing on the United States. Right. He's their highest paid employee. He earns about $1 million a month. Last time we checked, he has a very big contract with them, earning around $1 million a month, $12 million a year. And I think that's because he brings in a lot of ratings. Obviously, he's really good at what he does. He has a lot of connections in the business. He used to be a beat writer in Philadelphia where he covered Allen Iverson and all of these different things. He's well connected. He knows Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal. He knows so many people, right? And he seems to have a lot of pull in that business. One of the reasons why he was able to get his former co-host, Max Kellerman, moved off the show. He proposed the idea, and it took him 2-3 years to make the thing come to fruition, and he got removed off the show. And so Stephen A. Smith has a lot of clout. But if I'm also kind of focusing on Shannon Sharpe, right? I believe that Shannon Sharpe has the opportunity to become the biggest one of them all, right? I think he has the opportunity to become the biggest one of them all. And why do I say that, right? Because Shannon Sharpe, I think he has what it takes. Now, a lot of people look at Shannon Sharpe, they tune into Undisputed every day, and maybe a younger audience, they may not know who he is, right? Shannon Sharpe was a professional Pro Bowler. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's a hell of a player, right? Multiple Pro Bowler, multiple Super Bowl winner. But since he's transitioned onto TV, I think Shannon Sharpe has done a very, very good job since he started in 2016. Now in this case, we're talking about Undisputed. And although he doesn't have a journalism background, he still has what it takes to be very successful in his business. And I think this is what the internet and time has shown. I think in the past, there were a lot of gatekeepers and mechanisms that kind of filtered in a lot of people into the business, right? You had to kind of go through the system in order to make your voices heard. But with the advent of the internet and so many of the changing of the times, it's given a voice to a lot of people out there like myself and others. If you think about the music business, before you have to go through record companies, now you can become successful, build your own buzz, and kind of, get yourself a lot of attention and get yourself a great deal out there. I think the business has changed, right? You no longer have to go to school for journalism and all of these different things to become a successful analyst, become a successful sports analyst. That's what I'm beginning to learn about this. And if you look at Shannon Sharpe in this particular case, although he doesn't have a journalism background, he is extremely talented, right? He's extremely talented. I think he's hilarious. When I started watching him in 2016, it was like one of these things that kind of dawned on me. So I was watching him, and as I'm watching, I'm like, yo, this dude is funny, right? Shannon Sharpe is funny. I don't know if it's his Southern accent. His Southern accent certainly plays a role. And people from the South, I don't know what it is, man. The way they be pronouncing words, the way they say, it's just funny. Like, even the way he pronounces Skip Bayless' name. Not Skip. Come on, Skip. Come on, don't do that to that man. Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. Don't do it. Like, he's hilarious to me. So I think that's one of the things that he has going for him. He can entertain people. He's funny. He's entertaining. He's very witty, right? He is very, very witty. There's some times where he's had some comebacks against Skip Bayless, and I'll be sitting there cracking up. Like, I remember I think it was in Halloween or something like this. They had an episode surrounding the Clippers or whatever it is. No, it was an episode. It was a Halloween, and this was when Skip Bayless wanted to make the debut of the Kawhi Leonard shoes, right? So Shannon Sharpe was just sitting out there. He didn't know where Skip Bayless was, and he was like leaning around the set. He was like, "Where's Skip? Where is he? Is he probably one of them tombstones somewhere or someplace?" I mean, it was just so funny, right? He is that witty in the way he used to sit back in a chair and just be watching Skip. I just think Shannon Sharpe is very funny. He's actually very, very smart too. Shannon Sharpe is a smart dude. He's a very, very sharp dude, and he can make some great arguments, right? When he's on his A game, I think he's pretty good on a lot of social topics. Obviously, he's a football savant. We're talking about NFL right now. He's a football savant because he's he's a Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl winner. So he knows football. And there are times when I've heard him kind of get into the nuances of football, and he can get really, really detailed. And I think sometimes he just kind of dials it back a little bit because he maybe lose some people that are not really as dialed into the NFL as others. But Shannon Sharpe knows football very well. He also knows basketball to a certain extent, right? He knows basketball to a certain extent. And I also think he's quite charismatic. I think he's very charismatic. Obviously, he has a presence to himself when you see him. He's a big guy. He has big shoulders. He wears these nice, suits that really complement his. So Shannon Sharpe, I think, has what it takes. The only weakness, I think, when it comes to Shannon Sharpe, and oh, by the way, when I say the only weakness, all of us have weaknesses, including me. So I'm not nitpicking him. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching these videos have many critiques about me, and we welcome all of them. So I'm not like saying, oh, the only weakness, I'm nitpicking him. No, I'm just trying to make an argument here. I'm sure a lot of people don't like some of the stuff that we do, which is completely fine. So in this particular instance, though, I think the only weakness that Shannon Sharpe has is when it comes to is when it comes to LeBron James. I think when Shannon Sharpe starts talking about LeBron James, he loses all objectivity, man. Like, I think that's the only topic that holds him back sometimes. But obviously, sometimes he does win some debates with Skip Bayless when they get into LeBron, because Skip Bayless does like to troll LeBron a lot. But sometimes Shannon Sharpe loses a lot of his objectivity, right? And this is what I think. I think when LeBron James retires, this is my prediction. I think when LeBron James retires and he's no longer the focal point on a lot of the basketball topic items that they have to discuss on a daily basis, I think Shannon Sharpe is going to be a fantastic basketball analyst. This is what I think. This is what I think, because I think that guy pays attention to detail. He watches the games very closely. I've listened to some of his analysis that he's given on different games, different big game situations, whatever it is, and he makes some strong points. I think the LeBron thing is just where he kind of loses objectivity. But hey, I think that's the same thing with a lot of us, right? When we talk about our favorite players, maybe sometimes we kind of over embellish. We probably get a little bit too defensive, and that's probably normal. I think when LeBron retires, you're going to see Shannon Sharpe at his best. And I think this guy has what it takes to overtake Stephen A. Smith. I think he's definitely more likable. He seems like a much more humble guy. Stephen A. Smith seems to be really, into himself. And judging from a lot of the things that I've seen, just watching him and reading a lot of the comments that people leave on our channel and looking at other channels, seeing what people are saying, I think a lot of people seem to feel like he's a little bit too full of himself. Shannon Sharpe doesn't give me that type of impression, although he does seem very confident. So for me, I think in the future he has an opportunity to become bigger than him. And obviously at a certain point, Skip Bayless will retire. Skip Bayless is, I think, 69 years old, 70 years old. And I think Shannon Sharpe has the potential to become one of the biggest faces in sports media, probably the biggest face in sports media, because I mean, he's only 50-something years old. And I think he's just getting started. And, I got to give kudos to him. The only thing I have disagreements with Shannon Sharpe about is about the whole LeBron thing. But a lot of people are going to have a lot of disagreements with me with the whole Kobe thing. So that one is par for the course. But for me, that's what I think. So what I want to know from you guys is this. It's quite simple. Do you think Shannon Sharpe can be bigger than Stephen A. Smith in the future? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.